Hello, everyone, and welcome to BookTrib Live, a Merrill Moss Media production. Today, we are thrilled to have New York Times and USA Today bestselling author Lexi Blake to talk about her newest title, out with 1001 Dark Nights, Devoted, which is a Masters and Mercenaries novella. Lexi has also written the Thieves series, the Perfect Gentleman series, and the Masters of Menage series, both with Shayla Black. And soon she'll be debuting a new series, Lawless, which we can't wait to talk a little bit about. Welcome, Lexi. It's so great to have you today.
Hi, guys.
Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So tell us about Devoted and the characters that we're meeting in this novella.
Devoted is part of what I like to call Sanctum Knights. I've got a couple of kind of offshoots of Masters and Mercenaries. There are the main storylines, which almost always involve somebody shooting somebody else. And then there are two kind of offshoots. And one is Sanctum Knights, which happens inside the club sanctum.
Okay.
And the other is Topped, which happens inside Sean's restaurant. So this one happens in the club, and it's a little more intimate than a main storyline. Like it's much more internal conflict than external.
Okay. So where are we seeing a bunch of other people from the Masters and Mercenaries? I know you have so many books in this.
Always.
Okay, good.
Yes, always. I always like to say that, you get this cast of characters, so why wouldn't you use them?
Absolutely.
So if somebody needs a lawyer, it's going to be one of the lawyers from the club. If somebody needs, this one in particular, it's Bridget from Cherished's sister and Mitch from Adored's brother.
Oh.
So when you end up, when you get all, it's like this tangled family tree that goes back on itself and twists around twice and comes back,
Right.
and almost everybody's related at this point. Yeah.
Are you ever surprised? You kind of think back sometimes and think like how I don't either know how I got to this point in this series, or oh, I'm surprised maybe I took those twists and turns that I wouldn't have expected in the beginning.
Oh, I'm constantly surprised I'm still here. Like, how did that happen? I often think my great skill in life is to look like I meant to do that, because I didn't. It's a whole lot of, I think for me in particular, because I'm not a great planner. I tend to let things kind of go where they're going to go. Um, I I can be good at using what I have. And in this particular case, if I was going to, if it was kind of a case of, okay, I had these great characters from this book and I had them from this book,
Right.
they should really get together. Let's use them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Um, Now this also isn't your first 1001 Dark Nights novella. So can you maybe tell us a little bit how you got involved with them originally and started writing these novellas?
Liz Berry told me that I should, and so I did. I
And
do
when
Liz
Liz
Berry,
tells you that, it's like
that's right.
that's
I do
amazing.
what she tells me to. It's the best career advice I can give any writer. If Elizabeth Berry tells you you need to do this, you should do it.
You just do it.
Um, Liz Berry and MJ Rose came to me at the beginning. I think I was probably the first author they approached, mostly because Liz and I are really good friends,
Oh,
and she wanted to know if it sounded like a good idea, and I said, of course it does if I'm in. Yeah.
okay. Only if you can do it.
Um, that's right. So that's how I got my start with this really, really amazing project.
Okay. Did you feel like this novella in any way was different from anything you've written in the Masters and Mercenaries novel, like series? Did your writing change at all, or
I
was there anything
do.
different about it?
No, I do, because it had more to do. I often have the suspense in Devoted is about business.
Okay.
And I don't normally do that. I kind of wanted to do it as you remember the Rock Hudson Doris Day films, or maybe
Right.
you don't because you look very young. We old folks remember them from TV and our parents making us watch them. I really wanted to do that kind of sparkly, one person knows more than the other, and he's going to pull one over on her, except, oh no, he fell in love,
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so I think in that way it's a little different.
Oh, love it already. Um, did you always want did you always want to be an author? Is it something you knew from the beginning? This is what you wanted to do. Tell us a little bit
I
about
was going to be a marine biologist, and then I figured out that you have to swim with sharks.
Oh no.
And so then I was going to be a reporter, and I realized I'm really introverted and don't want to have to talk to people. So that's how I got into, yeah. The great thing about novel writing is it's all right here.
So true.
So, but did I always know I wanted to write? Yes. Probably from the time I was 5 or 6, I was always telling stories. I like to talk about the fact that in high school I wrote Doctor Who fan fiction before we really knew what fan fiction was.
Right.
So,
So you were there from the beginning.
I was, yes.
Do you ever
And might I say they should really look at those seasons I wrote out on my own.
get some ideas from them? It's not a bad idea. Do you ever kind of think about writing outside of the erotica genre or think like, oh, I want to try that, but I'm enjoying this too much? Is there ever that thought process?
Oh, always. I'm lucky enough that I write fast enough that I get to do some different things. The only pure I would I write more erotic romance than erotica because I've got such big storylines.
Right.
Um, a lot of the erotica I've written, I would say even that had pretty hefty storylines to it that had nothing to do with the sexual journey.
Okay.
Writing outside the romantic genre, would I do it? Absolutely. I'd love to write a thriller.
Ooh,
I think it would still have a little romance in it though.
yeah.
That's just part of who I am.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Um, you've also had the series The Perfect Gentleman, and you've written
Uh-huh.
this series with Shayla Black. How did that come about? How did you guys meet?
As with all things, it came about with a whole lot of wine.
Oh,
We were actually we were actually in London when we decided to pitch this book. We both were really crazy about the kind of big TV shows, Scandal and those big vision.
yeah.
They go over like it's politics and murder and just the ones that cram it all in there.
Right.
And so over a couple of bottles of wine in London, we came up with this idea.
Okay. Interesting. And you do have the third book coming out next month. Can you talk a little bit about that book?
Yes, May 4th. It's very exciting. This one is of course the Perfect Gentleman series. While it each book concentrates on a couple, but there's an overarching storyline that goes over the 5 books.
Okay.
This one is the third book, so it's kind of a transitional book. We're going from kind of what we learned into, okay, we're going to solve this now. It's set in New Orleans. It's about our Navy captain, Dax, and his former NCIS girlfriend. You find out why she's former.
Okay.
But also, I think the funnest part is a good portion of this is set uh, 3 years prior to where we are today. So we got to write Maddox Crawford being alive, and that was a lot of fun.
Okay. Very great. All right. So fans of that series definitely May 4th, you said, right?
That's right.
Okay. That's exciting. So where do your ideas kind of typically come from? Do they just kind of originate and you let it happen naturally? Do you have like a list of story ideas that you say like on to the next, or how does that happen for you personally?
I think it happens. Sometimes I have dreams. Sometimes I'll be listening to a song on the radio, and like a whole scene will pop up in my head. Um, and I so associate the book with that
Oh,
particular song from then on. Sometimes it happens. I'll have one idea and I'll get right to writing, and it'll go completely another way.
oh, okay.
Those are kind of the best ones.
Yeah.
The ones the curves I didn't see coming. But I oftentimes will get in, and it's really about the characters instead of any particular storyline.
Okay.
And the characters will tell me where I want to go.
Oh, okay. So do you go in order of, say you come up with the ideas, or are you saying like, oh, I'm writing something I thought of yesterday, but I still have this idea from 2 years ago? Like, how do you handle that
You know, I've got a couple of ideas that I've always wanted to write. And
situation?
I I wrote 9 books before I ever published a thing, a single word. I wrote 9 whole books. 3 of them will never see the light of day. They're buried under, but I loved the idea enough to write the book. So might I kind of pull that idea back?
Right, and
Absolutely.
replay with it. Okay.
Yep.
So Masters and Mercenaries is by far your longest series between the novels and the extras and the novellas. Um, how do you know personally for your own series when like a story has run its course, or is there always story ideas in your opinion? How do you know when to end it?
I tend to view it almost as like TV seasons.
Okay.
Like I originally planned on Masters and Mercenaries being 5 books.
Okay.
And it was supposed to go from Sean Taggart to Ian Taggart. And it had an overarching storyline, but they weren't cliffhangery.
Okay.
Everything was settled, but we were going to chase Eli Nelson through books 1 through 5. So in book 5, we catch him, we get rid of him, but I still had characters to talk about, so I started another bad guy
Right.
who I call the collective. So that kind of offsprung.
Mhm.
So I'm just talking about main storyline books here. Books 6 through 12 are about catching the collective. So book 13 will start a whole new. I'm going to do something kind of. I hope it works. I'm actually going to take a nice time jump,
Oh, how
and
exciting.
we're going to deal with. Yeah, we're going to deal with some of the younger guys
Okay.
and get to see some of the kids as they grow up.
Oh,
So
very
that's how I hope to keep it a little fresh. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you have any favorites, maybe either a series or a specific book, maybe because of the topic or the characters, just of your own book?
Um, Thieves, which is my urban fantasy series, is why I am published today. It
Okay.
it wasn't. I published a lot of books before I got back to Thieves, but Thieves was what I wrote when I got serious about writing again.
Okay.
So it's really close to my heart. I would say I like to write characters more than I like to write any particular storyline. So I have certain characters who I go back to again and again because I hear their voices so very fiercely in my head. And my favorites would be Ian and Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to take a couple of fan questions because we do have some here, and I'd love to get to them before we
Sounds great.
continue our other questions. Cherry, I think it's Cherry, it might be Sherry. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Yes,
Is
Shuri.
Cherie,
I
okay. Do you have siblings? I like what I've just read of Mitch giving the big bro advice to Flip.
I do. I have one brother. I have a brother, and we've actually gotten closer over the years than we were. I was like the evil big sister. I will admit to that. I was a horrible big sister. I was really mean. Um, we're good now, though.
Okay, good.
He's yeah, but oddly enough, he's a lawyer like Mitch.
Okay, all right, very
Yeah.
interesting. Um, Kathy is asking, who are some of your favorite writers? Funny enough, that was a question I had also. Maybe the writers
I
you're
have,
remembering.
yeah. Oh, it was fun because I just went to RT,
Oh,
which is why I probably don't look like I'm awake. I got Vegas hangover. I came back yesterday. Um, I always fangirl all over Kristen Ashley. I
oh,
like kind of cry a little and jump up and down, and I did cry a little eating E.L. James
okay.
because that was kind of cool. I love to read, I love to read Shayla. I love to read Sharice Sinclair, Lorelei James. Larissa Young is not only one of my favorite human beings in the world, she's probably one of my absolute favorite writers. And I love Rebecca Zanetti too.
Yes, fantastic. Great writers. Tell us a little bit about RT.
Oh,
What
and,
were,
and Steve Barry.
oh,
I left out my thriller writers. Steve Barry.
definitely. We're a big fan of Steve Barry here
I get paid to say that, by the way.
also. All right, as long as you're getting a little something
Expecting
out
the
of it
check.
from Liz, that's good.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about RT if you don't mind. Did you have a favorite panel or?
Oh, you know what? It was a really well-run conference. We walked a lot, but everything just ran really smoothly this year. I think my favorite thing was Shayla and I threw a party and just being able to meet everybody and
Yeah.
talk to everybody. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, good. That's so exciting. That's always fun to hear. Um, Also, Cherie says, jumping up and down and waving hi. Say hi to Kim too, please. So I just wanted to
I
pass
will. I
along
think she
that.
is probably on here somewhere.
Oh, good. Um, so if you could become a character in any one of your books, you have one that you're like, oh yeah, I want to be in that story.
I would be Zoe Donovan Quinn, yeah. Yeah, even though she gets the crap kicked out of her on a regular basis, yeah, she's a queen, she's a thief, she has two beautiful, gorgeous men. Yeah, I'd be Zoe. It, Now, on the non-paranormal front, I would be Charlotte.
Okay.
I think I am Charlotte, except I'm not as thin and I don't shoot people as often as she does. But I do have a super sarcastic husband, so.
Okay. Well, there you go. Do you ever find that you really write like what you know into these characters? So your personality traits, your the things you would think, or do they kind of become their own people for you?
Oh no, I absolutely write what I know.
Okay.
You know, for me, if I'm not, so I wrote a book called, and I do it sometimes even when I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I wrote a book called You Only Love Twice. And when I sat down to write that book, I would have told you, you know what, this is just a story. It's about Jesse and Phoebe, and I need to make some stuff up in her background, and maybe she lost her husband, and okay, I'll go with that. Well, what had happened about 6 weeks before I start writing this book is I'd found out my mother had cancer.
Oh wow.
So, and my mom's great right now, just so we know. But I had to process that, and that book was how I processed the grief
Okay.
of finding out my mom had cancer. That book is about grief. It's about, um, accepting grief and being able to move on.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at the time. So I think I'm one of those writers who, even when I don't think I'm putting myself in there, I'm all over
You
that.
write your emotions, yeah. But then
I do. I do.
I think that makes for a truer, kind of more realistic story, and that must come across to the reader.
I like to say I kind of end up bleeding all over the page.
Yeah.
And I know my husband and I have worked out, well, no, I have worked out a lot of things with my husband on the page.
That makes sense. Does your husband read your book?
Yes, all of them, every single
Oh,
word. I've never written a word that he hasn't read.
that's amazing. Is he like a sounding board for you, or he just reads them to support?
Oh no, no, he reads them. Not as much now that he's at home with kids and he doesn't, it's just time wise.
Yeah.
He used to read it chapter by chapter with me and we would talk things out.
Oh,
We talk storylines all the time though, but now he's my ultimate proofreader. He goes through and he's the one who's like, who reads every single line and
that's amazing.
tries to make sure. Yeah.
Really awesome. So you have a new series coming out late summer, and it's called Lawless, and I'm very excited about
Yes.
it. Can you tell us about this book and how is it kind of different from other series that you've written so
Um, you know, I tend to write spies and soldiers and cops and
far?
uh this is a group of not businessmen. So it's different in that way. But it's in a way it's not different because it is set in the Masters and Mercenaries world.
Oh, okay.
Um that weirdly enough, although you don't have to have read Masters and Mercenaries at all to get what's going on. Um it's a case of me again using what I have. When I first tried to sell the series, it was supposed to be 4 books. It was supposed to be 3 brothers and a sister.
Okay.
They told me they really only wanted 3 books, but I didn't want to get rid of the sister. So I moved the sister to Masters and Mercenaries.
Oh,
So the Lawless sister is actually the heroine of Dominance Never Dies, which is in June.
okay.
And Dominance Never Dies will lead right into, you see the prep for Ruthless in Dominance Never Dies, everything that they're doing.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
and then, of course, they would definitely need a security team and some investigators. So all throughout Lawless, investigators from McKay Taggart are the ones helping them.
Okay.
But it's basically four siblings who have a very tragic loss. They lose their parents at a young age, and what they figure out as they grow up is that they didn't die the way they thought. They were murdered, so now they're going after the people who murdered their parents.
Okay. You know, I have to say, a couple weeks ago, I didn't realize that I was speaking today, and I came across Lawless on, well, Ruthless, the Lawless series. I came across it on
Huh?
Amazon, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is right up my alley, like wish list immediately. And then I realized that I was talking today, and I said, oh, I can't wait to ask her about it. So funny
Hey,
that it came. So Amazon,
coincidence.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what else is coming up for you? What do you have for new projects that you can talk about?
I think we've talked about a whole lot of them. The rest of my year is got Dominance Never Dies on June 14th.
Okay.
Ruthless is August 4th. I should have a new Thieves out hopefully in September.
Okay.
And then Theo's book in October. Theo Taggart is kind of he's the one that I think they're probably waiting for most.
Okay. Well, we did just get a question from Kay, which is, will Jared get a book?
He will probably be next year's 1001 Dark Nights book, yes.
Ah, okay. There you go.
I can't, yeah. I can't send him off and not, he has to have a happy ending.
Oh, good, good. So, I would love to do a little rapid fire with you, which we like to do towards the end
Okay.
of our chat. It's a little this or that, whatever comes to mind first. Hardcover or paperback?
A paperback.
Ebooks or hard copy?
Ebooks.
When you
I
write,
love ebooks.
yeah, absolutely. When you write, do you write longhand or do you type? There are some who
Oh, I type. I type. I have typed ever since I had a computer, no longhand.
type. Do you write most of your writing during the day or at night?
I'm a morning person. I get most in before noon.
Okay. And are you typically in a private setting or do you have to kind of get out, go to like a Starbucks or something?
I am so bad about privacy and quiet that I rented an apartment because
Really?
I have a lot of this is my apartment where I work.
Okay. It's funny because I'm not going to remember who it was, but there was another author that I spoke to who said on her crunch deadline, she gets a hotel room for like 4 days
Uh-huh.
straight and has to leave.
No, I'm here at least 6 days a week.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's where you
Yeah.
get most of your writing done.
Yeah, it's nice too because my kids aren't here, so I get to have like a fabric sofa.
Oh, there you go.
Everything at my house is leather because I've got a 7-year-old and she puts her little paw prints on everything.
Of course. So what about events? Do you have any upcoming things that anyone can maybe come get a book signed or come meet you?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be at the Texas Library Association panel on Thursday. We'll see because it's in Houston. I don't know if we're going to be able to make it down there or not. I'm at Thriller Fest in July, and then I am at Shameless. Oh, I'm at Boots and Books in Grapevine,
Okay.
July 30th, and that's here in Texas. And then Shameless in Orlando in October.
Okay.
I think that's the rest of my year.
All right. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, everyone, and see where you can go meet next Lexi.
Oh no, I froze.
Uh-oh, looks like we lost. She's back. There
I
she
am.
is.
Yay. Okay, good.
Yay. Woo, we almost lost her.
I did that
So
myself too. I'm very proud.
see, it's not hard. You got it. So yeah, I don't know if you heard my question. I was just wondering about audiobooks and how, as an author, what you control of that system. Do you have any control or any say
Yeah,
over
it depends.
narrators?
It depends on whether or not I'm doing it myself. I
Okay.
actually independently produce the Masters and Mercenaries books, so I've got a good
Okay.
amount of control of that. I get to pick the narrator. Um, my assistant and I, we go through everything and make sure everything's right. On the New York books, they send me a copy, and that's the control I have is they send me a copy. Every
Okay.
now and yeah, sometimes they'll give me like a couple of choices of who I want to narrate, but more likely than not, they're just going to ship me a copy of it when it's done. So I
Wow.
kind of,
Okay.
yeah. Of course, I don't have to
It's
pay
so
for that, but
interesting. Yeah, that's true. I find
I
it
like,
so interesting because so many readers have so much to say, and it's almost like they blame it on the author, like, oh, how could you pick this for your character?
you
And
know,
it's just so interesting to know that you really don't have the control.
yeah, but I mean, we're the face of the brand. They don't want to talk to a publisher. They want to talk to me. I totally understand that. Unfortunately, in some case, and I can do something about it in on the indie side. But I
Right.
just have to smile and say, I'm so sorry that didn't work out on the New York side.
Absolutely. Okay. Um, so I'm not sure, kind of for your next book, what what's your hopes for? Like, do you ever think, ooh, maybe this one, I'm not sure how this one's gonna do or how this one's gonna turn out
I
for
always believe
readers
that it's my last book. It's the one that's going to sink me and nobody will read it.
and
I
no,
always, no,
really.
I really do. Somewhere out there, Chloe Bell is like, oh God. Yeah, really, she really does.
She is out there too. I see her as a
Yeah.
viewer. That's
I am
so fun.
absolutely 100% certain this is the worst book ever written, and it takes it going out. Sometimes I can get it back right before it's published and be like, okay, it's
Right.
not that bad. But sometimes it takes it going out and people saying, "Oh my gosh, it was really good," for me to go, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Okay, see?
But yeah,
Well,
I
I
tend to be
don't
on the
think they're ever as
pessimistic
bad as
side.
you think.
Yeah, I hope
Okay.
so.
Thank you so much. This has been
Thank
an
you.
absolute pleasure, Lexi. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope all of our viewers have.
You too.
Devoted, go get it as soon as you can, and we'll look out for the next Lexi Blake book. So exciting. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Beth.
joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks.